I wasn't always a furry, but I think some of the media I used to consume as a child probably affected that. This is my furry childhood. Hello everybody, it's everyone's favourite feisty feline, Zephyr's Grey Sports here. If you're new around here, please subscribe and ring that bell for more furry fandom related content. Also want to join my Discord community, link in the description. Welcome back to my furry childhood, the series where I talk about the things that I used to love as a kid and how, looking back, it probably made me the furry that I am today. And today, I'm going to be looking at something from my childhood, Neopets. So as a kid I used to play tons of Flash games. I remember I found this old website called Crazy Monkey Games, I don't even know if that's still going, probably, and they had like tons of Flash games, along with other websites like Newgrounds and Armour Games, which I'm sure they're both still going. I know Newgrounds is. I don't know about Armour Games, but I assume they're both still going. But yeah, I used to play so many Flash games, and I'd always be on the lookout for more. So when I saw this kid playing games in my school's IT room, I had to know what the site was. So that's how I found out about Neopets. So for those of you that don't know what Neopets is, considering it's long past its glory days now, it's a bit like a kind of early 2000s version of Moshi Monsters. You adopt a cute Neopet and you look after it and you do all these mini games to earn the coins and you go on adventures with your pet. It's a whole thing. It's it's a bit weird, but it's kind of something you get into in a big way. I remember the game itself was absolutely huge and it had this really big real world market where you could buy and sell items and pets for real world money. I don't know if that was specifically allowed in the terms of service, but I know that a lot of people did it, including this kid that I met in the IT room. He was telling me all about how he would buy and sell pets, buy it, level it up, sell it on for real money, and that part of it kind of piqued my interest a little bit. So I signed up to Neopets around 2002 when the site was still at its peak popularity. I remember around that time there were Neopets toys, plushies, trading cards, just to name a few of the massive amounts of types of merchandise available. There were probably t-shirts, you could probably get a porcelain Neopet statue for your bedside table. They did everything Neopets. And I remember that I had my pet and I used to go on there every day and play the mini games, make sure my pet was doing well, feed it, look after it, the usual kind of thing. It was a bit like kind of Tamagotchi meets Pokemon almost. For some reason, one of the only mini games that I can remember was a game called Whack the Cass, where you hit this bird-like creature called a cass with a stick. And the further you got it, the more points and money you'd earn. I'll probably put footage of it in here, but it was really weird. But I used to love that kind of thing when I was a kid. And another thing that I vaguely remember was there was this magical freebie tree where you could collect free items every 5 minutes or something, and yeah, that took over a lot of my time. I'd just constantly have another tab open with the timers, clicking whenever there's something to get. I used to play this game so much. And yeah, the website was a pretty great place to go, and they had lots of super cute furry pets to look after and tons of free Flash games. I even remember much later, so all this happened I want to say middle school, kind of early middle school, but I remember much later, after moving up to high school in the early 2010s, meeting new friends simply because of Neopets. I'd stopped playing by this point because the site was old and it kind of lost the charm that it had when I was a kid, but I met new people at high school and made friends with them just because of our shared knowledge and love for classic Neopets and other kind of early internet culture stuff. For me, Neopets was just so strange because it was kind of the thing that started the whole real-life merchandise in shops for virtual games. I remember going to Toys R Us one of the very few times that I went as a kid because it wasn't as big over here. But one of the very few times I went, there were just rows of Neopet stuff, and it just kind of really confused me almost because for me, up until that point, there'd been this big distinction between real life toy and virtual toy, and then they kind of had this weird crossover with real life merchandise. As for Neopets in 2020, well, it's still going, but it's very much a skeleton of what it used to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole thing still exists in its entirety, but the player base is shrunk down to a fraction of its former glory. The site no longer receives regular updates in a way that it used to, and the whole thing feels very dated. I mean, I don't think it's had any update to the layout or design for years. The layout that it currently has is the layout and design that it had way back in 2002 when I signed up, I'm pretty sure. There's still a devoted community to the game, albeit a small one, who operate a subreddit and try and keep the game alive with memes and other community activities, try and bring them all together, which is awesome. Like, it's very clear the developers don't want to keep the community together, so the community have to keep themselves together, and I really like that. So there we go, it's a little bit of a sad ending, but it's one of the games that took over my life when I was a kid. I'd spend most of my time reloading pages to get to different things, and it's just a shame that as the internet's moved on, one of the titans of early internet hasn't really been able to move with it. While researching for this episode, I saw that there was a peak in 2005 where they reported having 25 million users, which is an amazing amount. It's just such a shame they couldn't keep the site relevant to increase that number and keep the community there as alive as it was. At least we still have the cute Neopet art to look back on. Now back then, I wasn't a furry, but Neopets probably affected that. Thank you all for watching, remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.